Claim you can see auras through the screen. John should now be standing in the same position as he was when he was behind the screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, will Helen please come forward? Helen will step out from behind the screen. Now, James, from what position did Helen come?
D.
From D. Helen, will you step into position D, please? Can I now ask Andrew to come forward, please? Andrew is the third person from behind the screen. There he is, and there are only 3 spaces left. Which one do you think he belongs in?
A.
In A. Andrew, would you take position A, please? Now, would Bob please step forward? Only 2 spaces left. Which letter, B or E?
E.
E. Would you step into position E? And finally, would Danny step forward, please? Of course, there's no choice about which letter James thinks you are, so Danny, you'll take up position B. Am I correct? Okay, fine. Just a moment ago, these 5 persons were standing behind the screen. James, if you have them all in the correct order, it will be good evidence that you can see auras through screens, as you have a less than 1% chance of matching all of these 5 correctly by chance alone, just by guesswork. By chance alone, you should get, the expectation is, one of them correct, if it's only chance. Let's see if James managed to beat the odds. To these 5 people, I ask, please reveal which position you were originally standing in by showing us, I think it's inside your hat, isn't it? Take them off and let's see. C, B, D, A, and E. So out of this, we obtained 2 correct. All right. So, James, you got 2 out of 5 correct, and I take my hat off to you for trying. Would your volunteers please go back to the correct positions in which they actually belong? Take your correct positions. And those 3 move into different spots.
The results are only slightly better than those predicted by chance.
It seems something went a bit wrong this time. What explanation could there be, James?
Well, it's quite possible that this has been the first time that I've ever attempted this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite possible that I've allowed myself to come into it, okay?
I see, but you did say you could see them through obstacles.
Yes, I can, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, James, for coming tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you the evidence. You make up your own minds. I'm James Randi. Good night. In order that we may closely examine their claims of psychic powers and related skills, first, I need somebody's autograph. Let me see a lot of eligible people over here. I'm sure they can all sign their names. I'll bet you can. Yes. Would you join us up there, Ben? I'm going over to the board, and we're going to do a little bit of an experiment. Now, we haven't met just yet, but this is the experimental board. I'm going to ask you to take this big marker here, and if you would be kind enough, please, write your signature across the face of the board here as large as you can from about there to there. Now, a signature is something rather unique, of course. You've done this for many years now. Not as many as I have, but thank you. If you just stand over to the side now, I'm going to show you something peculiar. You know, as we say, a signature is something that belongs to you and to you only. And it's rather strange to stand there and see somebody that you've never met before actually doing your signature, but doing it in a most peculiar way. In this case, doing it backwards and upside down. I don't know whether you might have a blank check in your pocket there that isn't doing anything at the moment, but if you do, perhaps you'd like to loan it to me. I'd keep it for a couple of weeks, and I'm sure that it'll come back to you through the bank eventually. I'm sure that you use this signature in making out huge checks for huge amounts of money, and I would like to test whether or not this signature might also do the job. Let me see, one more to do now, around like that, and we thank you very much for your kind attention. What could be more distinctly personal in nature than your own signature or your handwriting? Tonight, we're investigating claims that some people can reveal your personality, your emotional life, and even your career possibilities by examining your personal possessions. We have searched for people who claim to have these powers. Some have come forward and are willing to be tested. These tests are drawn up in agreement with each claimant to to determine whether or not they can demonstrate their claims under controlled conditions. For years now, I have offered $10,000 to anyone who can demonstrate psychic powers in a controlled situation. Tonight, one of our guests will attempt a preliminary test, and if she is successful in that, she will come back to stake a claim to that $10,000. One psychic ability is known as psychometry, not to be confused with psychometric personality tests. Psychometry claims to be able to read emotions and vibrations that certain personal objects have absorbed. Such things as keys, jewelry, clothing, and even homes are said to take up these mysterious influences. One who claims to be able to read such things is Petrine. Petrine, would you give us a quick demonstration using a personal object? Let's use something from this lady behind you, for example. You haven't met her before, have you? No. Okay.
Okay, the first thing that I want to say is this lady is very, very unhappy about her work situation. She's totally in the wrong career. The second thing that I want to say is she's carrying around quite a lot of anger with her, and there's somebody quite close to her that she needs to forgive. Thirdly, there's somewhere to go. She should get out of the environment that she is. There's somewhere in her past to go back to where things aren't quite resolved. I have a feeling that it's in the country, something like that. Somewhere from the past, she needs to pay a return visit because things there aren't resolved. And I would advise this lady to keep away from the colour red and also red foods, red drinks, because they're actually aggravating her at the moment. Okay.
There goes red wine and strawberries right there. What do you say to that?
The work situation I don't think is true because I'm a student and happy with that.
Anything else that...
I could read into the rest, but it's not that relevant, I don't.
Could I just point out,
yes.
First of all, all right, I accept that, but first of all, you have to go deep into yourself. When I tell people things, I don't tell them off the top of my head. I am speaking on a very deep level, so you have actually got to be very honest with yourself to hear what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. How accurate is this information usually?
Very.
Well, that seems harmless enough, but it does have a serious side, of course. Now, there's a lady here, Danu Kagbara. You were recently described in a magazine as a, quote, psychic junkie, unquote. Now, why did you go to psychics for advice?
Well, I think I was quoted as a former psychic junkie, which I should have been.
I see.
Because I'm no longer convinced about this type of thing that I've just witnessed. But the reason why I used to go was it was part of this eternal quest for an easy-peasy way of dealing with life's problems. And I regard my former dependence on clairvoyance and psychics as a weakness.
I see.
I think it was... I hear that men go, but I think it's a peculiarly female weakness.
Well, there's obviously some debate about the value and accuracy of psychometry, and Petrine has gallantly agreed tonight to a more stringent experiment, the terms of which we've agreed to in advance. Petrine, will you join us at the table? Now, if an object contains the psychic imprint of its owner, then two objects borrowed from the same person should contain the same imprint. Is this correct?
That is correct. If I could actually just say that is in a very broad sense.
Well, we have wristwatches here. We borrowed a wristwatch and a set of keys from each of 5 members of the audience. They've been mixed up, and you will try by psychic means to match each watch with the correct set of keys. When you've made your decision, please match the pairs of watches and keys together by placing one set in each one of these sections on the table. Good luck, Petrine.
Thank you.
If Petrine matches all 5 sets correctly, it may prove that psychic imprints do exist and she can read them. If she gets just 1 or 2 correct, that is the result that we would expect if you were simply guessing.